Hello, everybody. Hope all is well. I'm Brian Jones, and I'm a heartfulness trainer. And I'm back here again on my Thursday slot. Last week, I got a lot of comments about last week. People were contacting me. They enjoyed getting the tips on constant remembrance. So if you missed that episode, it's you can see it up on YouTube. So the premise last week was to do with, what are we really doing between the times that we meditate? Okay. How do we optimize that time and make it work for our spiritual progress? So today I'm going to continue in that vein, and I'm going to talk about yet another really, really important tip that is not meditation. Okay. And this is called the pause. Yes, the pause. So here in our local group here in Cleveland, Ohio, that's where I'm based out of, we do a lot of workshops in our sessions almost weekly. And this is a topic that has come up again and again and again and again. So what do I mean when I say pause? Well, here's the thing. During the course of our day, and we're all going to relate to this, okay? During the course of our day, we face any number of situations. And for most of the day, usually it's hopefully pretty smooth, pretty even. But, for some of us, and depending on our work or school or whatever it is, there's things that come up during the day that can really be a trigger for us, right? And when we have to face those little trigger moments, we react. And those reactions, if we react just internally, well, then we can cover it. And we tend to hold our feelings in. But if we're in a situation with someone else where, there's a reaction and there's an interaction, well, then that really complicates things, and we can have misunderstandings, we can have hurt feelings. And so those are things we want to try and resolve as soon as possible, actually, if possible. So here's another tip for that's easy to practice. And it's simply, if we can train ourselves to recognize when something is coming up for us, when something is being triggered in us, that if we can catch it within the first, 2, 3, 4 seconds, and we just pause. Wow, you can almost feel that. If we just pause, and we don't jump to any kind of evaluation of what's happening in the moment, if we don't jump to any type of, judgment, or more often, if we don't jump to any sort of defense response, because, the ego is the defender of our knowledge, the defender of our identity, the defender of our character. The ego is always in defense mode. So if we can train ourselves, and this is really a meditation technique. I mean, by doing meditation, we get much better at doing this. When we can train ourselves to simply pause, don't jump to any judgment, let your body relax. And there's a couple other things, if you need to do them, you can. One is a tip that came from Either Chariji or Babaji, who's one of the spiritual teachers in Heartfulness, they said, if you pause and just look up to the sky, that somehow that dissipates the feelings that are coming up. So that's one tip. Pause, and if you're outside, look up to the sky, or pause and just count to 10 inside and just breathe. And this little tip, if you are to practice this for even a week or 2 weeks, it becomes our second nature. And I think what we learn from this, at least for sure for me, what I've learned from it is that, most things really aren't worth getting defensive over or getting upset about or reacting to. And the other thing that I think goes along with this is very often when we do get triggered by someone, that when we pause, it gives us an opportunity to remind ourselves that, oh, wow, this person perhaps is really having a bad day, or something maybe is not right in their family, or something's going on with them that's causing them to, act or react in this way. And we always have to keep that in mind, because we all know that when something's, bothering us, or we're not having a good day, we're really apt to react all the more. And it's the same, that's true with the other person as well. So this is another technique of sorts. It sounds incredibly simple. It sounds like a no-brainer, as we would say, but it's not. It's not. It's really big. This is a huge tip. And it just, I think, adds to our character formation, which is such an important part of taking up a spiritual practice. Character formation is actually as or more important than the spiritual actual practice itself. So these two things go hand in hand. And I think that all of this also relates to something you've heard me talk about before, which is our conscience. For those of you who are on this heartfulness journey, okay, there are many books, whenever we study spirituality, there's many ways we refer to, the higher power within. We can call it the self with a capital S. We can call it our higher self. We can call it the divine within. We can call it the ultimate. We can call it God. We can call it divinity. There's so many different words that we have that denote our ideal from a spiritual perspective, the ultimate ideal. And my spiritual guide, Chariji, for many decades, he was my spiritual guide. He made a really great point, and it's stuck with me for all this time. He says that God, the master, the self, conscience are all the same thing. All the same thing. So when we approach it this way, we can see, oh, yes, that still voice that's within me that is giving me little sensations when I'm about to do something that I shouldn't do, or that doesn't really match my character. We call that the voice of our conscience. And that conscience, that is the inner master. And I think when we take up a spiritual path, what we're doing really is we're on a journey of self-mastery. Okay, it's not that you become the master. It's not like that. but we're mastering our own self. And by, that process of doing that, okay, there are many aspects of it through the course of our day. So there's meditation, and then we have a process of evening cleaning that we do. But during the day, as I talked about last week, we also have constant remembrance, where we're trying to stay in touch. We're trying to be in touch with that lively link inside. And we can call that our conscience or the higher self. And this pause is just another tool in our toolbox that helps us to develop our character. So, all right, I want to take a moment here. And when you see me looking down, I just want to say, as my wife called me out on this the other day, she said, don't look down, look at the camera, because, but when I'm looking down, my computer monitor screen is laying down like this in front of me. So when I look down to see who's joining, that's what I'm looking at. So let me say hello to some people. Someone's named Towards Divinity. Well, that's appropriate. Arvind, welcome. Vibhav, I'm probably not saying that. Swaroop, welcome. SRCM Kalpana. We've got Katerina, Prabhat, Manju. So look, thank you for tuning in today. And those of you who are on Instagram, unfortunately, the software that I use to go live, I'm going live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the same time. It does not allow me to receive, the Instagram comments. So I apologize for that I'm not able to interact with you in real time. But for the rest of you, okay, if there's anyone who would like to ask or put in a question in your chat, if you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook right now, I will get that, and I'd be happy to take up a question for you, of yours, I should say. Vijaya, hi. Arvind, thank you. Hi, Andy. Mina, welcome. So let me ask you this. So how many of you faced moments like that in your daily life where you feel like you're being triggered? Does anybody give me a hands up on that, or anybody want to make a comment about that? When's the last time that has happened to you? I know for me, I'll tell you, it just happened just moments before I was going live today. Last week is right in the middle of this, a live cast. They started cutting down a tree right outside of my window. And it was super loud. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, everybody's going to hear this noise. And I had to edit it out and everything. It's not like it really triggered me, but, today it was sort of the same thing, right? Moments before I'm going live, someone showed up at the door and they wanted to do some work also out in the yard. And so, these are the things that are just, the things that come up in life, and we got to just flow with those things. So Vina, hi. Oh, you say wonderful job. Well, thank you so much, Vina. I appreciate that. So the other thing I want to say in regards to these trigger moments that we get is that Chariji used to say a really bring up a really important point. He said, whenever we're pointing our finger at someone, 3 fingers are pointing back at our own self. And really, that is so true, is that we often just jump to react and jump to, have a moment of where we're not pausing, and we just jump into it, and then we get ourselves into trouble. So that's another good tip to remember. So I want to add one more thing that it came to mind this morning. I want to share this also from Chariji, and this has to do with this idea of self-mastery and our own spiritual journey. And this was a really enlightening thing that he used to do with us. So when there would be a small group around him, he would ask this question. The question was, is Master in your heart, or is Master your heart? Is Master in your heart, or is Master your heart? There were about 3 years' time when he would always do this in small groups. And there would be so many different uh, responses. But the response that he was looking for is that, no, you say the Master is your heart. The Master is your heart. Because if we say the Master is in our heart, then we're always thinking about a separation. There's always this duality that's going on. So, it takes a lot of courage, actually, to rest on this feeling and just have a deep knowing that, yes, the Master, what we call the Master within, or conscience, the Master is our heart. So I wanted to share that with you today. It's something you can also carry forward and add to your practice. All right, so I think I got a question here. Arvind says, we have to consider and think about the condition of the other person every time on seeing their reactions. Yes, that's right. Every single time, because the other person could be having a real traumatic event going on in their life, causing them to be upset. And perhaps they really need our help. And instead of asking for our help, they're reacting to something that triggers them. So that's a really important point. Okay. Someone else has said, oh, it happens frequently. Seems as if things seem so busy. Yeah, right. Well, look, life has become busy, and we're doing too many things, right? And look, here's another tip I'll share with you. Babuji, another one of the heartfulness spiritual guides or masters, he said there are 3 obstacles on the path. Now, my memory has never been all that great, and I've been doing this practice for 45 years. And to be honest, I'm going to really get myself in trouble here. I've never really been able to remember all of the maxims, the 10 maxims, word for word. But I could remember the 3 obstacles on the path. And I figured to myself, just like the constant remembrance, I figured if I can remember the 3 obstacles, then that's good enough. That's okay. Can watch out for those. So these were Babaji's 3 obstacles on the path. We do too many things at one time. That's one. Second one, we don't have confidence in ourselves. Oh, that's a huge one. Huge. And the third obstacle on the path, and my favorite one of all, is we try, but there is no attempt. How often have we said, when we, are looking to do something or accomplish something and it doesn't work out the way we want it, we can say, but I tried. See, when we say I tried, it implies a sense of self-doubt. Oh, I tried, But when we say, I'm attempting to do this, we're not leaving room for us. We're not leaving an escape route for ourselves because to attempt, well, we keep attempting until we've accomplished that thing we want to attempt accomplishing. So all these little tips are like golden gems for building our character formation. Okay. Someone else has just a few other people chiming in. Radha, hi, Shanti, Donna Sekar, and Vina says, please do conduct this meditation live. I'm really enjoying it, brother. Keep doing it. I am happy about you. May Master bless you. Well, that's very sweet. Thank you so much, Vina. Thank you. That's very nice. And look, so here, this is going to bring me to the next thing, and we're going to meditate together right now. So here's what's happening. This show today on Thursday, this will be the last time I'm going to do the Thursday show because I'm moving to a new slot, a new time. Well, actually, a new time and a new day. So starting next week, I'm going to be live on Mondays, and it's going to be a half an hour earlier. It's going to start at 10 o'clock Eastern time. So that's 7:30 India time. So I hope that's okay for all of you. So it's going to be on Mondays at 7:30 India time and 10 o'clock Eastern time, which actually is a little bit better for myself. But the more important thing is that it's okay for you. That's my bigger concern, because whatever is best for all of you, I would like to do. All right. So with that, I think that we can get into our meditation today. And for those of you who are joining for the first time, I'm a trainer in heartfulness meditation, and I've been practicing this for a long time, for my entire life. And it's a very simple practice that anybody can do. It's extremely effective. And I'm going to guide you into this meditation. Then we will sit quietly together for about 20 minutes. And at the end of the meditation, I'm going to say, that's all. And I'll gently bring us out of the meditation. And that will be our session for today. So, okay. With that, we're going to get started. And someone just said, sometimes thoughts won't stop during meditation. In that situation, what do we do? Okay, well, everybody asks this question. And one thing I've noticed is that here's one simple thing. If you're a tea drinker or a coffee drinker, and I am a coffee drinker, if I've had a cup of coffee earlier in the day, I notice that if I sit and meditate, my mind is more active. So that's one simple thing to look out for. But if they're just the regular daily thoughts, here's what you need to remember. Okay, meditation is a process. So if we're just sit down and we're just having thoughts, we're not utilizing the technique of meditation. We're not utilizing the technique of heartfulness. Because what we should be doing is whenever we notice that there's thoughts, we should make an honest, sincere attempt at coming back to our heart and resting on the source of light in our heart. So the source of light in our heart is the object of meditation. And if we're thinking or having thoughts, we need to remind ourselves to come back to the object of meditation. And we may have to remind ourselves 10 times in the sitting. And we shouldn't struggle with that. Don't force yourself. But when you notice, oh, I'm thinking there's more thoughts, just come back to, no, wait, I'm meditating, I'm resting. I'm resting on that source of light within, and feel that it's drawing you inwards. In fact, sometimes I say, feel that it's inviting you inwards. What a beautiful thought, that the source itself is inviting you inwards. That's not something we want to miss, right? So try that. So let's get started with our meditation. Let's close our eyes and sit comfortably. And let's take a slow, deep breath in together. Let it go. And feel that your body is relaxing. Another slow, deep breath in. And let it go. Now, very gently, let your awareness drop down and rest on your heart. Just rest your attention on the area of the heart. Rest on the heart in the same way that we put our head on the pillow at night and rest and just let go. So let's rest on the source of light, the source of lightness, that soundless sound. Rest on the source and feel that it's inviting you deep within. Let's stay with this thought. That's all. So please take a moment and observe how you're feeling now. And let's have the thought that this spiritual condition is expanding all around us. And as we slowly open our eyes, just have the thought that this beautiful inner condition is going to carry you forward through the rest of your day. Okay. I didn't want to come out of that. So, okay, just a couple other things while we wrap up here. Someone says, I mentioned twice a week. No, I'm not going to be live twice a week. I'm only going to be live on Mondays at 7:30 India Standard Time. Someone else asked, do you have any advice on how to grow in humility? And anytime I feel myself change in a positive way, my mind wants to show it off to others to gain attention and be looked up to. Well, it's okay to be, happy in noticing our own changes. But humility is something where we just want to, let that be our inner happiness. Okay, a few other people. Manu, Pusetti, Rita. Hi, Rita. Arvind. Hi. Minu. Okay, Chiara. Okay, so I'm going to add one more thing before I sign off here. There's a lot of different aspects to our spiritual practice, and it's a lot, okay? I thoroughly understand that. And I just want to say to all of you listening out there, if ever you're feeling really just overwhelmed and, you're feeling, in a way that you just feel guilty that you can't get to the practice, you can't do it perfectly, you can't do it as much, don't worry. Okay, we are all divine beings of this universe. And we are here to just become the fullness of that divine expression. And that doesn't mean that we have to do anything perfectly. It just means that we have to be ourselves, treat others with, goodwill and love, and it's enough. So don't make the mistake of thinking that your spiritual progress depends on doing a perfect spiritual practice, because there's no judging God or anything like that out there. It's all about resting on the heart and sharing that love and good wishes for all. That really is the nature of the divine state. So we can all easily do that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. And I'm going to be back on Monday. And I look forward to seeing you all then. And all the best for this rest of this week and this weekend. And I'll see you soon. Take care.